Our first fight of the evening will be between Håvard Lund Eidhem from FKFD Norway and Greg Tsaris, Medieval Swordplay Canada. That's for sword and buckler, third place.
All right, so Håvard is from the Frie Duelister, the Free Duelists from Oslo, Norway.
And we will start with the final for the bronze medal in sword and buckler.
His opponent, Greg Sagris, is from Medieval Swordplay Canada. So we have Norway versus Canada.
So you see Håvard in blue and Greg Tsaris in red.
Håvard is a very tall, lanky, agile fencer. He looks a little ungainly when you first see him move, but you realize he's quite agile.
For the bronze medal in the blue corner from Fäktskola Frie Duelister in Norway, Håvard Lund Eidhem.
That's Håvard.
And in the red corner from Medieval Swordplay Canada, Greg Sagris.
And there's Greg Sagris. Now the interesting thing is both these guys have fenced in multiple categories. They both fenced in open longsword and in sword and buckler.
Yeah, and Håvard's an interesting cat because he's this thin guy, but he packs a punch.
He does, and he can move in a really agile manner. And he, like I said, he looks a little ungainly when you first see him, but he's in full control, and he's got a lot of reach, and he does have a significant amount of power. All right. So, initial cut to the low line by Greg Sagris. And I'm not sure where that landed, but I thought it was a blow to the leg from the right. And they're wasting no time. Closing in, that was a thrust and a cut by Sagris. And it looks like the judges were undecided on that. High guard by Sagris. A little bit of blade action, covering a cut and a thrust. All right.
Out of bounds.
Right, but interesting to see how that'll be called. So it was a... Right.
So strike was landed before out of bounds.
Yeah, it was either a cut or a thrust that landed on the arm. So Greg is taking these this high guard, threatening the thrust, and then he's cutting a reverso, that is a high cut from the left, as a way of closing in and then making a thrust afterwards. So you see him doing the same thing over and over. And Håvard taking a low guard. That was a nice thrust in there from Håvard as he closed distance, and it looks like it landed on the torso for 2 points. Nice thrust on the entry by Håvard Einan. Oh, yeah,
strike from above by Håvard.
Yeah, hanging guard, Håvard flipping around for a cut to the head that lands, and then it looks like he covered down on the afterblow with his buckler. 3-2, close fight so far. Yeah, a little bit of an unclear exchange. The judges could not agree. All right, Greg is settling into this this high guard. It's high versus low with a point forward.
And pushing the pace, threatening with that thrust.
Yeah, definitely
putting
putting pressure. But you got to be careful with Håvard because he's got a long reach. And we saw once before he walked in on a thrust. Okay, cut to the buckler, a reverso that misses, and he drives him almost out of the ring. And it looks like there was a cut delivered by Håvard when he was backing up that may have landed on the arm. High guard versus low guard again. Cut at the leg that misses. Parry with the buckler. Thrust as he drives him out of the ring. I think that was a thrust that landed to the torso by Red for another 2 points. Or sorry, 3 points. Is it 3 points or 2? I think it looks like it's 2. Oh, that was
thrust
thrust underneath to the torso. but I think there was a high thrust landed immediately after by Tsagras. So that was an even exchange.
End of round. We'll be heading into round 2. And Horvath's, he's fine in this position. He's leading by 7-4, and he's letting Tsagras go for him and countering.
It's interesting. You saw an early lead by Tsagras, and he was coming in very aggressively, and Havard was doing a good job of just sort of taking him. Well, he got hit a couple of times, but then he started figuring out his game, and he's catching him as he comes in.
We'll see what Tsagras comes up with.
Yeah.
In the next round. He's the one who's going to have to make the adjustments.
Yeah, for sure.
It looks to me like he had a plan coming in, because when you see somebody straight off the bat start following a game plan, he's probably looked at Horvath throughout the tournament and said, okay, this is the way I'm going to defeat Horvath. It hasn't worked so far. He's going to reassess with his coach, and we'll see what he comes up with. And this is where it hangs on if you've got a good coach or not. How do you break the patterns and find new ones?
Right. And he has Jack Gassman in his corner who's assisting him. Not from the same club. Jack Gassman, originally from Switzerland, lives in Ireland now, but I think he's stepping in to help the Canadian, who I think is here alone. So what's happening is, you saw him come in pretty aggressively. Then he decided he was going to move to this high guard. He got some benefit out of that, but then it started working against him. Havard figured it out. We'll see if he changes, if Greg Tsagras changes his game. All right, low guard now. All right, looks like I thought I saw a thrust that landed by Tsagras, but I think there was a cut to the arm on the way in. And that's what the judges see as well. Yep, likewise I thought I saw a cut to the hand by Havard. Right, you see a little cut to the hand, he extends, you see that coming in? Almost drives him out of bounds, but he keeps 1 foot in. To be out of bounds, you have to have both feet out. And Havard has come perilously close to that, but has not allowed himself to lose any points to that so far.
Horvath's got that reach, and when he's moving back, Greg's got to cover so much ground, and Horvath's, he can't reach Horvath when Horvath can reach him. So it's
true,
a big disadvantage.
True. And Havard, he can back up and hit you as he's backing up. Preferentially going for the arm or dipping in that point underneath the buckler.
So Greg's kept the pretty much the same setup, rushing in Horvath, applying pressure, but he's utilizing the low guard more than in the first round.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he's changing up his game, but the fact of the matter is with that range distance, I think he feels like he has to keep the pressure on. Yeah. But he's not doing a very good job, frankly, of covering those attacks by Havard as he retreats, mainly to the arm, sometimes the thrust.
Cut to the arm by Havard.
Another cut from a hanging guard to the arm, also retreating. This is the pattern for this fight. Now what's interesting here is to watch the style. This is something that maybe if Tsagras could adopt maybe a little more of a 133 style where he keeps the buckler close to his hands, that could make a difference in terms of protecting himself. But you see, when he's attacking, he's retracting that buckler, and he's not using it to maximum advantage to protect himself. Watch this. See, he's coming in. You see, he's got that buckler back against his body, and it's not doing him any help. He's sacrificing it as he's bringing that rear foot forward. Watch this. You see it. That buckler retracts, and it's not protecting him. And he's getting tagged on the arm as he comes in. (11-5). It's going to be extremely difficult for Greg to make any headway here. Cut to the buckler. Looked like another cut to the hand by Havard. Yep, 1 point blue. This is our last exchange. Oh, beautiful thrust. Catching Tsagras in the throat as he walked in. But I think there was also, I'm not sure if it was a cut or a thrust on the way in. He catches him there. Frankly, it looked to me like that
cut
thrust
across
by
the throat.
Slagris missed,
Yeah.
but the judges saw it differently. Different angles, different perception.
Our winner, ladies and gentlemen, Håvard Lund Edheim. And I got to say, I was really impressed. See, he didn't make it all the way in the longsword, but it was very impressive today at longsword, and just this dynamic, strong fighter. He doesn't look it when you see him. He's got this power.